XAGUSD, the silver. And for me personally, it's been a while since I traded this commodity, as I have preferred to use the XAUUSD, that is the gold, for my commodity trading. But let's look at what is really going on in this market. So I would like to move this back into the upper side. So since it's going to be part of our watch list for this week. So the first thing we are going to be doing here is to scale up into the daily time frame. Of course, we want to have an holistic view of what is really going on in this market. So the first thing you will see here is that if we consider what has been happening since the last quarter of last year, that is in September of last year, you will agree with me that price action has been bullish, finding higher highs and higher lows in this market. So we bring out our line chart to acknowledge that. So we want to connect the series of higher lows first of all, and if we do that appropriately, we should be having something like this. So we have a trend line mapped out. I would like to thicken this a little bit to emphasize its importance at this point. And then another thing you would notice here is that as soon as price action got into this level, I think around the $26.20 area, we saw some rejection. So we want to also acknowledge that level, map that out, and let's give this a blue color. I'll prefer it blue color. So we label that $26.20 level. So that is our first level for the, hold on a second, I'll close it on the right hand side. All right, now there is another structure here, which let's place it at the, I think the $24.50 $24.50 level seems reasonable. So we have the $24.50 level mapped out. You will understand why I'm marking out these levels in a moment. Just hold on a second. We are going to be talking about that in detail. And then I think we have something around here, which is the $23.50 area, which probably could be our key level for this week, as depending on how price action reacts to that structure will determine. So we have that area at the $23.50 level, $23.50 level. Okay, so we place at the bottom, and then I always like my key level to be gold, so it gives me that shining zone idea. So we have this all mapped out right now. So you can see, bringing back our candle charts, you will see things becomes more clearer. Now, the first thing I would like to acknowledge here is this impulsive move that started in the month of March. So we saw how price action started at around the $20 level, a very strong psychological area considering the round figure of that price. Price action culminated at the $26.20 level, about that's like $6.20 move to the upside. Then we saw price action do a consolidation phase, which from a technical standpoint looks more like a reversal pattern in the form of a double top structure. And with a double top structure identified, you know how we do it whenever we have a double top structure. The next thing we want to be doing is to identify the neckline of that potential reversal pattern, as that will, a breakdown or breakout of the neckline will validate the potency of that reversal pattern and also give us a confirmation to either sell or buy depending on the kind of reversal pattern we have. So in this case scenario, we have the neckline sitting at the $24.50 level, which coincidentally has been a major determinant of price action in the last 6 months. It was since December. We saw how this level was a very strong selling niche at one point, as you can see here, a very strong selling niche before we saw the breakout of the structure happened at the beginning of the month of April. Now, what happened last week was quite interesting as we saw price action broke down that structure one more time to bring price back into the seller's territory. So remember that below the $24.50 level had been a very strong selling niche in this market between December and February of this year, as you can see here. And for the fact that price action has dropped back below that level again, I want to assume that we are back within the seller's territory. And at the same time, price action breaking down the neckline of that reversal pattern also confirms or validates the potency of that reversal pattern. Well, if you had missed out on this opportunity, that is the sell at the $24.50 level last week, well, we might want to wait. We would want to wait. It's not might. We will definitely want to wait for price action to give us some more confirmation that sellers are really, really strong at this point. And this might likely come in the form of price action coming back to retest the neckline around the $24.50 level, which could take quite a while before it gets into that structure. It could take a week before price action gets into that level. But depending on the volatility or how price action reacts to the fundamentals that are coming up later in the week, or probably the US debt ceiling issue, that we should be able to get some highlights about that later on today. Price will come back into the structure, and it depends on how it reacts to the $24.50 level that will confirm the strength of the sellers around this area. So if that is going to be the case, if selling pressure comes there, then we want to be sell more at the breakdown of the $23.50 level and join the move all the way to the downside. And depending on how price action reacts to the trend line will now determine if we are going to be adding more sell position or get ready to buy the XAGUSD at that point. But when we get to that level, we are going to figure that out. Right now, our center of focus is just right around that $23.50 level at this point. Now, it will take about how many pips for price action to get into that neckline? That's about 79 pips thereabout. That's approximately 80 pips to get into that level. So you might want to be part of that move into that structure, after which we look out for selling opportunities. So we want to see if we can actually find a buying opportunity around this area to join that move into the neckline area before we start looking out for selling opportunities. So to do that, we want to scale down into a much more lower time frame, like the 1 hour time frame, so that we can see how participants in this market has been reacting to this current structure. So I would like to bring these key levels into our purview. So let me bring this back in so that we can see things clearly. And I'll have to do this one. Okay, sorry. I'll bring it here. So we have 342. So I want to bring this in too. So we have 342. And we do this too. 342. All right. So reset our charts, and this is what we have right now. So map this out. Okay. So since the beginning of today, that is the new week, we have seen our price action has been a little bit bearish actually. So we can see our price action started the week around here. So we have the resistance line for the week somewhere around here. That is around the $23.90 level. So this is the resistance line for the week. I would like to give this a different color to emphasize its importance. So we have the $23.97.90 level rather. Sorry. Okay, so we have the $23.90 level here. And then we have the support line for the week sitting around here, which is the $23.64. So we have a very tight range since the beginning of the week, giving us an insight into the level of indecision in this market at this point. Now, you all know how we do it whenever we have a simple flat channel like this. We want to wait for price action to either break out of the resistance line to give us buying opportunity, or we look out for price action to break down the support line here for selling opportunities in this market. Now, in addition to this simple flag channel we have here is the fact that price action has been a little bit bullish since Friday, as we have been citing some higher lows here, but we are yet to find a significant higher high. So I want to map that out, as we are going to be using this as a yardstick to guide our trading activities for today. So we have a beautiful trend line here to guide our move. And one thing this helps us to do is to be able to feel comfortable in whatever position we are. So as long as price action remains above that bullish trend line, we continue to look out for buying opportunities in this market. And if price ever breaks down the trend line, then we are going to be getting ready to sell. So for me to buy the XAGUSD for today, I want to see price action take out the $23.90 level. Remember that we want some confirmation to happen at this point. And the reason why I want us to see confirmation here is simply because that area has been a very strong selling niche, at least throughout the second half of last week. As we saw all this area here, we saw our sellers negated buyers attempt around this area. So between the $24 area, $24.10 and the $23.90 area, we have been citing selling pressure around that area, giving us a clue that sellers are very, very present around that point. So we want to see a breakout of that structure happen, and price action coming back to retest the level will give us a confirmation to buy. And in fact, it could even come to as far as testing the trend line. So if it does break down the $23.90 level to the downside, we don't need to worry. So we could have our stop loss somewhere right below the trend line so that we can capture the old choppy situation that will come in after the breakout of the $23.90 level to join a trend continuation to the upside. So this is what we are going to be looking out for to buy the XAGUSD for today. So we have a simple channel. We are looking for a breakout of the $23.90 level. We want price action to remain above our bullish trend line to feel comfortable in a buy position and look out for more opportunities to add to our existing trade. So that is the buy potential we have here. Now, you know how we do it. We also want to keep tabs with the opposite direction too as well. We want to see what potential do the sellers have in this market and what we want to see on this chart that will give us the confidence to change our buyers from bullish to bearish. Now, if we consider the selling niche around the $23.90 level since the second half of last week, as you can see here, we have been citing selling pressure around this area. If this sell pressure continues to the downside in such a way that it breaks down the bullish trend line, which will happen to be the first time price action will break down the trend line in the last 3 days, then this will be a sign that we might be going bearish. And remember, we are not getting too excited at this point, as we'll still need some confirmation to happen, which is going to reflect on the chart as a retest of the trend line. And then we want to see continued selling pressure where we see signs that buyers are finding it difficult to climb back above the trend line. Then at this point, we want to be selling. Then if we possible, have a sell stop order below the $23.64 level to add more position, and a further breakdown of the $23.50 level will definitely welcome more opportunities in this market. Now, there is one caveat to the sell expectation here. If price action ever breaks down the $23.64 level, what I want us to do here, if price action breaks down that level and continue to the downside, as soon as price action gets into our key level at the $23.50 level, we want to be moving all our stop losses on all existing sell positions to lock in and secure the current sell position, as it now depends on how price action reacts to that $23.50 level. That will now determine if we are going to be adding more sell position that is going further bearish to the downside, or we might likely see buy pressure resume around that area to push price to the upside. So we want to keep all this in mind while we continue to monitor price action. Screenshot my screen if you want to, so that you can use it as a reference point when you're about to make your individual decision. So that is that on the XAGUSD for today. So you might want to, at this point, we want to remain patient, waiting patiently for price action to give us that signal, that confirmation before we want to be joining any move. So our center of focus ahead of the New York session on the XAGUSD is just within the $23.90 level and the $23.64 area. Let's see how price action plays out around this area. Then this will give us an insight into what our next line of action will be. So I hope I made myself clear here. If you do have any questions regarding what I just explained, feel free to let me know right in the comment section, and I am willing to be of help in that regard.